How's it going? This video response to "Shall Not Be Infringed." He was trying to get me to do an Obi-Wan impression, but I'm not going to do it. Come here, my little friend. You must learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like your father. Old Obi-Wan Kenobi. Left to deal with the mess of Qui-Gon Jinn, who wouldn't listen to the Jedi Council. Do you know what? I always thought about this. Now, this is something funny about the Star Wars movies. And this is something that really occurred to me when I was watching the original Phantom Menace movie. When the Jedi Council was talking about how great it would be to bring balance back to the Force, did they not look around and think for a minute that they were surrounded by good and everything trying to be good? What did they think that balance was? You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about. Um, we are talking about these damn kids today with their hair and their clothes. You can't get a job. Some of you may watch me and you may ask yourself, where does this retard get his crazy ass notions that, why can't he just see? Why can't he just say, oh yeah, these fuckers. Oh god, they're everywhere and they don't give a fuck about nothing. I, for a time, I fancied becoming a minister, like a pastor. And part of that study and part of that training, in addition to reading the Bible and things like that, and doing expository stuff with the Greek and the Hebrew, is to read older church documents around the time of Martin Luther. Now, not Martin Luther King, we're talking like the original Martin Luther. Um, Also, the martyrs directly off after Jesus and all that. It is some very interesting stuff. What happened though, I happened across a letter written during the Renaissance. And it was one of these elders. And for some reason, this letter is, and I can't even find it again, but it is the damnedest thing. It was written in, like 1536. 1536. It was written in the 16th century, where the guy is bitching about the kids of the generation. Like, oh, it's going downhill. They've got no moral values. The whole nine yards. You would think if I didn't put the date on this letter, you wouldn't know when it was written, other than, well, if it was kind of like translated to something other than Old English. You wouldn't be able to tell me the date of this letter. You think it was just done. Is interesting. Now, is that a bad reason for me to base my faith in the coming generation? It could be. It really could be. But all along, historically, we're always convinced that the future is dark. Everything's going downhill. And when the future is so dark, the past seems so bright. Like the idea of a neighbor being willing to beat the shit out of a kid that tried to get on his lawn. On the one hand, he didn't have any kids mouthing off to him, but kind of on the other hand, maybe that guy wasn't a very like good guy. Like maybe he got off on beating the shit out of people. Maybe he beat the shit out of his old lady and everything too. Have we changed? Oh yes, most definitely. I was talking to a friend and we were speaking on this very same subject quite a while ago. And interestingly enough, um, this friend of mine is in the service, and he works with the younger guys in the service, and they do some very interesting stuff as far as leadership training and stuff like that. But that's a topic for another day. He too had a great deal of faith in the people that he was working with then. And and he's like, "Listen, man, they're good soldiers and they're good Americans, and you wouldn't believe it." The the suicide rate. Now, this guy I'm telling you about, he's about the same mind that you and I. Like if you and I sat down on a table and Faust came up and he sat down too, there wouldn't be any trouble whatsoever. We'd get along just fine, you know. Um, I've never really had the chance to ask him about the suicide rate, and oh man, I mean, definitely step so carefully on this shit. Um, was it Yogi Berra that said something about statistics, like something clever? When you look at the percentage of soldiers that soldiers and airmen and Marines and sailors that commit suicide, it's something like 24 for every 100,000. The actual numbers, though, um, the first time it started to become noticed, it was over 300 in a single year, and then in 2011, it dropped down to below 300 as different efforts were made to identify behavioral issues and things of that nature. Now, I'm not. I don't think it has anything necessarily to do with their upbringing or things like that, because tied to that statistic is a statistic of the rise in domestic violence and spousal abuse among military personnel. So, that's quite that's not quite that's not quite the same thing as somebody being like, "Oh, woe is me, my life is so terrible, um, I'm going to kill myself." When they come home and they beat the shit out of people. Daryl Abbott, Dimebag Daryl, was was a victim of a veteran. So I don't that argument to me, not that it isn't valid. I don't think it irrefutably holds sway. All right. I don't think it's the singular thing. And how many how many good people does it take in the right place to change things for the better? How many does it really take? Did you watch Knight Rider back in the day? It's like one man can make a difference. I don't think it takes too much. Um, in the workplace, you get a couple of real good people, and it can change everything. It doesn't take that many. It doesn't take everybody sway in the same way, and the rest of them end up just falling in line. But I don't know. Did you listen to the Dead Milkmen back in the day? Where they, they do this skit on their record where the guy's talking about homosexuals and stuff. He's like, "Yeah, homosexuals, they're fucking up the soil. You can't do anything with it now, man. I'm telling you, you can't do anything with the soil. You know why? Because they're building runways for gay Martians." I immediately thought of that on your video. Yeah. All right. That's all I got. That is all I got. Y'all take care.